No, because you don't get started until talking.
Okay, great.
So go ahead and I'll stand here and wait for you.
Thank you. I'm going to write something on the board real quick. So at the end of my speech, when I point this way, you all should look at the board and what I wrote.
Thank you. See if you look up. And you start speaking, then the clock will start. Okay, good.
The name Morgan is Welsh. It means by the sea. I like the name Morgan, but I don't particularly like the sea. However, my Hebrew name is Aviela Gabora. Aviela means daughter of God, and Gabora means God's able-bodied hero. So what I like to tell people is that my name is Morgan, and it means I'm a hero. I work at the Gold Bar. It's a coffee shop right down the street. You guys should come whenever you want. It's a great place. Our motto is, the baristas love you, and our coffee is nice too. That's not actually our motto, but that's what I like to think. I've learned more working at the Gold Bar for the last 2 years than I have at any other point in my life. And I decided to work at a coffee shop the summer after I decided to work as a farmhand in Colorado. And the reason that I decided to work at a coffee shop is because that summer I learned I'm a very tactile learner. I learned that I like moving around, I like having my hands on things, I hate sitting down. And that's exactly what you do when you're a barista. So it's a good fit for me. And I didn't know this at the time, but baristas get coffee grounds and they get espresso grounds underneath their fingernails the same way that farmers get soil underneath theirs. And I love that. Believe me, I did not expect that I would ever want to farm at any point in my life. I didn't expect that I would be working at a coffee shop for 2 years after I graduated college. But at the time in my life when I was expecting whatever kinds of things I was expecting out of life, I didn't realize that for me, happiness is a choice, and also for me, getting a real job out of college is whatever that was, as long as it provided me with enough to live on. Now, my family likes to remind me when I was 5 years old, I had a very spirited attitude towards life. They said that I refused to stay in timeout. They said that I made friends with everyone, that I chewed out bullies, and that I told my mind to anyone who would listen. But by the time I was 18, I had lost most of that part of myself. I didn't really have a spirited attitude towards life. My life motto was, it's just human excrement. It's not that great. But when I was 18, I started going to college, and I did know at that time that I was at least interested in studying how to build communities. And what does that mean? To me, it means learning how to take care of myself and learning how to take care of other people so that we can create loving, safe spaces to live. And that is a really hard subject to study in school. But through one of my urban planning classes, I realized that community gardens could be a great way to bring people together. And that's why I decided to be a farmhand for a summer. And I'm really glad I did, because in the foothills of the San Juan Mountains in southwestern Colorado, I found that spirited attitude that I used to have. I refused to sit still that summer. I made tons of friends, I chewed out bullies, and I told most people what was on my mind when it was appropriate. So it was Morgan 2.0, which was really just Morgan 1.0, re-energized. That was also the summer that I became addicted to coffee. In my opinion, there is literally nothing better than waking up early in the morning, going out to the rows that you planted the day before, watering them as the sun comes up over the mountains with a cup of hot coffee in your hand. Right. Now, I don't think addiction to anything is good, but my addiction to coffee did lead me to the Gold Bar, at least in part. And I'm really glad it did, because when I got back into the city and I got back to my old friends and going back to school, I lost myself again for the next 2 years. But at the Gold Bar, little by little, I started talking to every single customer that came in. And I began sharing little bits and pieces of myself with them, and these strangers, strangely enough, liked what I had to say. I've made more friends and emotional ties and connections by working at the Gold Bar than I have at any other point in my life. The kindness of strangers, I think about that every day. And that's not something that you can learn in school either. There's not a class that's like, hey Morgan, if you open yourself up to love, you're going to get love back, and a whole lot of other things you didn't expect. So how does one build communities? I still have no idea. I have a hunch that the kindness of strangers plays a part, and sharing food does as well. I'm a firm believer by this point in my life that sharing good food and good drink turns strangers into friends. And I have a different life motto now, one that brings me a lot more happiness and meaning than the one I had at age 18. And it is, our days are endless and full of joy. Let's eat.